All right. So thank you everyone for joining us this Sunday. I'd begin with the introduction of Indian Road Safety Campaign. Indian Road Safety Campaign is part of Solve Foundation and is working towards the mission of making Indian roads safer. We are focused on reducing the number of deaths caused by road crashes. To achieve this, we are working with 1,500 plus institutions and 25,000 plus volunteers across 26 states. We work across various domains like technical innovation, law, policy, medical, etc. We are working in close association with the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, Ministry of Health and Family, state traffic policies, United Nations, World Health Organization, etc. Our ultimate goal is to change the current scenario of road safety in India. Indian Road Safety Campaign started this journey to safety webinar series in an effort to bring all the stakeholders during this pandemic on one platform, and we can cover various issues of road safety with experts on our panels. And we've had several prominent speakers like Eva Molnar, like Rashmi Udvarshi, Abhay Dhamle, Piyush Tiwari, and Dr. Dean Krug. And we have covered a variety of topics across various domains as well. Today, I'd like to welcome our host, Ivy Rao sir, who will give us an introduction of our speaker. He will be the host of the session, and today we will be covering the topic, the power of data and road safety. I'll hand over to Ivy Rao sir here.
Thank you, Swati. Good afternoon. Welcome to Dr. Ravi Shankar and all the participants and friends. We are meeting after 2 weeks. We could not organize a webinar last week. I'm very happy to be hosting this webinar, 14th in this weekly series on road to safety being organized by IRSC. And today's topic is role of data in road safety. From the previous webinars, it's coming out very clear that road safety is a complex subject and needs contribution of all stakeholders, all road users to make roads safer for users. And IRSC is organizing these webinars with different sets of stakeholders to understand their views and suggestions for making roads safer for users. I would like to briefly talk about the various issues of general interest to set the context. As many of you know, UN had declared the global plan for decade, that is 2011 to 2020, of action for road safety, and they had recommended five pillars. They have finalized five pillars, that is road safety management, safer roads and mobility, safer vehicles, safer road users, and post-crash response and emergencies care. Uh, Last year, the Motor Vehicle Act has been modified with a lot of improvements and also increasing the penalty for not following any of the traffic rules. As we discussed earlier, there is no evaluation of the accidents taking place every day to understand the reason for accidents. Only records we generally have, covering all India information or from police complaints, which are basically made from fixing the made for fixing the responsibility for the accident and do not give enough information for analyzing the accident. JP research, from which Dr. Ravi Shankar is going to address us, is the only professional body I know of in India which is trying to analyze accidents to understand actual cause for the accident. Uh, from MOTH data for 2018, road accidents are increasing, and the number of accidents for 2018 are at 4.6 lakhs and with 1.4 lakh fatalities, with Tamil Nadu contributing maximum number of accidents and UP the maximum number of fatalities. And the big concern is the fact that the 70 major chunk of the fatalities are with mid-age group, which are in most productive phase of life, which is a which basically a retardant for our growth. And 35% accident cases involve two-wheelers and 24% involve four-wheelers. And fatalities also show a similar trend. And 75% of the drivers involved in these accidents have valid driving licenses. I mean, though I wouldn't like to compare the accident fatalities with what's happening with the COVID, though the fatalities in case of accidents are much higher than due to COVID, there is no close monitoring of accidents taking place and analyzing them to reduce the accident. And you all know what is the attention COVID crisis is getting from all stakeholders, the government, everyone world over. And the only point I'm saying is, I think unless all stakeholders give due importance to this target of eliminating fatalities due to accidents and reducing the accidents in the process, we will not be able to show any improvement. The unfortunate situation is also that the vehicle users are still not very well aware of various features being provided to assist the driver for safe driving. Also, in many cases, the traffic rules which are there, everybody feels that they are following them only because it's a traffic rule. One good example is wearing of helmets when one is using a two-wheeler. The survey shows that only 30% drivers and 10% pillion drivers use helmets. And in case of fatal accidents, 29% were found to be not using helmets. And the basic question is, why should a two-wheeler user wear a helmet? That too properly. I mean, not just for following traffic rule, but for his own safety. This awareness is still missing in many. Many of them still think that they are doing this to only avoid challan by a cop. They don't feel they are doing this for their own safety. Same is the case with the seat belts in passenger vehicles. Based on some survey done last year, only 28% of drivers and 4% of rear seat occupants wear seat belts. This also, many do not wear seat belts when they are going for short trip to nearby locations. In case of fatalities, 38% drivers and 62% rear seat passengers were not using seat belts. When we look back over last decade, India has made considerable improvement in terms of road infrastructure, the automobiles being made, which are almost at par with Europe now, and awareness of the amongst the road users has improved compared to what it was, and also post-accident emergency treatment services also have improved. But unfortunately, India has not seen any improvement in the reduction in accidents and fatalities. Still, a lot need to be done. And if you recollect the previous episodes of these webinars, it was highlighted by many in previous webinars that we do not have full information about all the accidents. If the accident analysis is done well, would clearly indicate what caused the accident and who is responsible. These inputs will go a long way in helping vehicle designers to configure the best systems. The ministry and authorities will have clear picture in formulating regulations which would be effective in India, and also design the roads better and eliminate the existing red spots. This would also be useful in focusing training the drivers and also the other road users. And we are very fortunate today to have Dr. Ravishankar Rajaraman, the technical director for the JP Research India offices, the only professional organization which analyzes the accidents taking place in some parts of India. He would tell us more about the accident analysis and power of this information for improving the road safety. Ravi Shankar is chairman of the Technical Steering Committee for RASI, Road Accident Sampling System India. He is also the member of International Research Council on Biomechanics of Injury. Mr. Rajaraman, Dr. Rajaraman has helped develop the first in-depth road traffic accident database in India called RASI and has also conducted crash investigations and analysis and traffic safety research for various clients and projects since 2008. He has won numerable awards, like to give some example, President and CEO's Quality Award in 2015 from JP Research India Private Limited, International Student Leadership Award in 2007 from Lawrence Technological University. He also had made various publications in the field of road safety data from road crash analysis. Now, I request Dr. Ravi Shankar from JP Research to give his presentation and his initial remarks. Over to you, Dr. Ravi Shankar.
Thank you, sir. And you're addressing me as Dr. Ravi Shankar, but I'm not Dr. Ravi Shankar. I'm just Mr. Ravi Shankar. I'm not a doctor yet.
You are a doctor for us.
so doctor for crashes, hopefully. So let's see. So can we have the presentation up, Swati? Right. Once again, a very good afternoon to everyone. Thank you for giving your time on Sunday afternoon. And we will start now with this webinar on the power of data in road safety. This is the topic given to me by IRSC. And the first thing we are going to do is imagine a situation. So when we start, we're going to start with the situation. And the situation is that you have received an invitation from the United Nations General Assembly, the headquarters in New York, and you have been asked to present the status of road safety in India, especially now when we are in 2020 and the decade of action of road safety from 2011 to 2020 is about to get over. So there was a commitment made that we are going to reduce fatalities by 50%. And you have to stand right there where you see on the screen to present to 173 member countries of the United Nations of what India has done over the past 10 years to reduce accidents. Next. And the questions that you have to answer is, first one would be, has the road safety status in India improved? Have the fatalities reduced over the past 10 years? The next question would be, are the cities in India safer compared to 2011 to 2018? Are the highways in India safer from 2011 to 2018 or 20, the past 10 years? And finally, the vulnerable road users, who are the pedestrians, the bicyclists, and the motorcyclists, are they safer now than they were in 2011? Swati, the slide is not moving forward.
I think it's a heavy file, I think.
Yep. So these are the questions on your screen. So I'll give you about 30 seconds and you'll have to come up with answers, because right now you have been asked by the UN General Assembly Secretary General to answer these questions right now. And you have 30 seconds to think of what your answer is going to be for these 4 questions listed down. Have road traffic fatalities reduced over the past 10 years?
No.
Are the roads in the cities safer? Are the highways safer? And are pedestrians, bicyclists, and motorcyclists in India safer today than 10 years ago? 30 seconds. Time starts now. Think over it. Okay, time's up.
Okay, perfect.
If you have made up your mind on what the answers to these questions are, that's good. A lot of you have said yes or no for a lot of the questions. And I'll show you what my reaction is going to be if I were in this situation. Next slide, please, Swati. There it is. That's my reaction. So my reaction would be, I would be sweating it out, wondering how do I answer these questions when I don't have data with me? And if this is also your reaction to the situation, then you understand that data is important. For those of you who may have answered these questions very well without any data, all you are doing is sharing your opinions, but you do not have the data to show the exact measurement of how things have changed. Neither do you have any evidence to prove what you have just stated, whether it's yes or no. So next slide, Swati. So here is the first power of data, and that is data is very important. We'll just wait for Swati to change the slide. Thank you. So the first power of data is that it is very important. And there is a nice saying by Dr. W. Edwards Deming, who is considered as the father of quality, especially in manufacturing, from Japan and from USA and so on, that without data, you are just another person with an opinion. And that's one problem with road safety, that we have a lot of opinions, but we have very little data. And without data, we cannot show whether something has improved or whether something has not improved. So moving on to the next part, we now search for the data. So where do we get answers to these 4 questions is the next thing we're going to look at. Next slide, Swati.
Done, sir. It's loading.
So where do you think you get data from? So one of the sources is, of course, the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. They have an agency called the Transport Research Wing. And this agency is entrusted with producing an annual report called the Road Accidents in India report, which has been published since 2008. So on your screen, you can see the website of the MORTH on the left side. You can go to the publications section, click on Road Accidents in India, and you will see all the reports that have been published by the Transport Research Wing since 2008. The latest report that Dr. I.V. Rao was also referring to priorly is the report for 2018. The 2019 data or the report is not out yet, and 2020, of course, is going on, so it'll take time. So we at least have data from 2008 to 2018 with us, thanks to Transport Research Wing. Now, what do these reports say? So if I want to talk about 10 years, I can take the reports from 2009 all the way to 2018 and find out what has happened with respect to road accidents and fatalities in India to answer these 4 questions. Next slide, please. Okay, so first question, have road fatalities reduced in India over the past 10 years? On your slide, you are now going to see the trend of accidents, or rather road fatalities, starting from 2008 all the way to 2018. And as you can nicely see, that the trend is only moving upwards. So in 2008, we had 119,860 fatalities. And now we have something around 150,000 fatalities. And since 2009, if we measure, we see that the fatalities have only increased by 20.5% up till 2018. So from 1,25,660 fatalities, we have moved up to 1,51,417 fatalities. So what we can see is over the past 10 years, fatalities have only increased. Next slide. Now this is with data. So we are even saying how much they have increased. Now let's look at the remaining 3 questions. And thanks to the Transport Research Wing's report, we can also answer these 3. So are the roads in the cities safer? The answer is no. As per the data provided for the fatalities in the cities with over a million plus population, this has only increased by 4.45%. So this data for the 50 cities with 1 million plus population is available from 2012. So I've used that information up to 2018, and I found that it has increased by 4.45%. Are the highways safer? Same answer, no. Fatalities on highways, which includes national highway, state highway, and expressways, have increased by 19.3%. You can see the reference data for that on the right. Are the vulnerable road users safer? Again, answer is no. But interestingly, bicyclists are an exception. So while fatalities have increased for pedestrians by 41.75%, and for motorcyclists, it's 100%, bicyclists have reduced by 32.52%. We may have our own ideas of why it is the case, but right now that's not the question. Right now, we're just trying to answer these questions with data. And this is what the data says right now. So overall, over the past 10 years in the decade of action of road safety does not seem to have improved at all. That is what the data is showing. Next slide, please. So the importance of this data that you're seeing is it gives you the knowledge. Data is providing you knowledge, and that's the second power of data, to be able to tell you what really is going on in your own country, in your own location, wherever you are. And what we learn is over the past decade, road accident deaths have only increased. And we were able to do this only because Transport Research Wing has provided us these reports and has given us some understanding of the road safety situation in India. If even the national statistics were not there, we would be in trouble. We would be absolutely blind. So it's very, very important that the first thing we have to do in road safety is to strengthen national statistics, not only for road accidents, but also for road traffic in general, related to road engineering, the kind of roads that we have, the vehicle population that we have, the registration population that we have, the kind of drivers that we have. There's a lot of data that needs to be collected for transportation. So unless these data or statistics are not strengthened in the nationwide, it will be very difficult to come up to understand what is the situation today for the whole country. Next slide, please. So right now we are in the COVID-19 pandemic, and I would like to take a moment just to compare how are we responding to these two. So we already have about, I think, 32,000 fatalities as a result of COVID-19 over the past few months, just about 4 or 5. And now road accidents is comparable. For the whole year, we have 150,000. Now, the first question to ask yourself, do you know the current status? I'm able to tell you that we have crossed about 32,000 fatalities because if I quickly go on the Ministry of Health's website, it gives me an update that as on today at 8 o'clock in the morning, these are the figures. I do not get that for road accidents. The 2019 report is also not out yet. Are you aware of the situation in your location for COVID-19? Yes, I have Arogya Setu app. I can look into it and find out which are the hotspots near my area, how many people I have come in contact with, how many cases are there in my area. But for road accidents, I have no idea of what's the problem in my location. Are you aware of the precautionary measures you need to take? For COVID-19, yes. I have clear instructions to wear masks, keep social distancing, ensure that I wash my hands regularly, I avoid crowds. For road accidents, a lot of it. be careful, be alert, go slow, whatever they mean. Are there people on the ground to measure and fight the problem? Yes, for COVID-19, we have COVID warriors. And for road accidents, we probably have road safety warriors. What's interesting is both of them are nearly the same people. It's the police and the doctors. Is there a lead agency in the country who's addressing the problem? For COVID-19, yes, we have the Ministry of Health. For road accidents, yes, we have the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. Interesting last question. Is there a team of experts working on solutions? So for COVID-19, yes, at least in my point of view, we have a lot of experts working from the National Institute of Virology. We have the Indian Council of Medical Research. We have all the way experts up to WHO advising on what we should be doing, checking the data. But for road accidents, I have no idea who they are. So based on this comparison, wherever there are question marks, you will see that we need to improve, firstly, for the top 3 questions, the data reporting. All right, so I was addressing the last point, and that is that we need to improve road safety expertise in India based on the fact that data shows that over the past 10 years, we have not been able to make a dent in the trends on road traffic deaths. So move on to the next slide. So that means we need to have better road safety expertise. We may have experts, we may have a lot of people who are doing stuff, but it's probably not guided well. We probably are not using knowledge well. And that's where there is a gap that can be filled with the help of data. So data can make you an expert. And right now, since there is a dearth of experts in road safety, this is the ideal time for a lot of you people to get into data collection so that you can be an expert. And for being an expert, you need to follow the following 4 steps. So you have to do data collection, no doubt. And in that, the first thing you have to do is have a clear objective. What is your objective for the data collection? Second, you need to build your knowledge. Do a literature review. Identify what have been done in those areas till now. What's worked, what's not worked. What are the sciences behind things? Third, you need to have a good data collection methodology to start doing the data collection. Even before you go out into the field, you need to plan everything properly. The teams, the kind of variables you need to collect, what is the survey going to be, how are you going to do it, where are you going to do it, all those needs to be planned. And after you have collected the data, you need to do an honest and clear reporting of it. You have to publish the data results to say, what have you found? So we'll look at each of these points one after the other. Next slide, please. So the purpose of having a clear objective for data collection could be that we have something like the United Nations and the World Health Organization targets. And that was what was being referred to by Dr. I.V. Rao earlier, that in the Stockholm Declaration, we have now changed the target and we are now updating it and saying that we need to reduce road traffic deaths by 50% from 2020 to 2030. So assuming that in 2020, we have approximately 150,000 fatalities. By 2030, we need to bring that number down to 75,000 or below. This target needs to be fixed and needs to be agreed by the entire country. And that's the first thing that we have to do. So now that we have the status, we need to fix up a target and say, this is what we want to do. And thankfully, the United Nations and the World Health Organization have provided this target to all the member countries. And India is one of them. Next slide. Another interesting information from the WHO is they are also setting road safety performance targets. So for this decade of road safety from 2021 to 2030, they have also identified 12 targets that we need to track and monitor over a period of time. So you can see they are arranged under the 5 pillars that Dr. I.V. Rao mentioned. So the first pillar on the left side is the road safety management, where we have to establish a comprehensive multi-sectoral national road safety action plan. And we need to accede to one or more of the core road safety related UN legal instruments, which is more on the government side. In the second pillar, we have the safer roads and mobility, where we are talking about the technical standards for all road users, that it should be all new roads should achieve good technical standards and take into account road safety for all types of road users. Similarly, the target 4 says that over 75% of existing roads should meet all the technical standards that are laid down. What are these technical standards? That's left to the country to decide. The country has to put in place good technical standards. Pillar 3 is safe vehicles, that by 2030, all the new vehicles produced or sold or imported in the country, including the used vehicles, should meet high quality safety standards. Then we have a number of targets for safe road users. So you can see 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, each of them addressing one area of safety, that is, let's say, speeding, motorcycle helmets, seat belts, drunken driving, mobile phone use, and even driver fatigue. Finally, we have the post-crash response, where we are asked to track how much time is it taking for a victim to reach the hospital or to receive professional health assistance right at the scene. So these are 12 targets, the minimum targets that have been asked by the WHO for all the countries to start tracking. Now, all of these together are road safety, but in my opinion, each target is a specific expertise, and not everybody can do all of them. Each of them have their own specific people who will work on. For example, safer roads and mobility is mostly for road engineers to come up with better standards, to understand crashes, upgrade the standards, and ensure that the roads are built to those new standards, which are more reflecting the Indian conditions. Similarly, we have safer vehicles for vehicles in India. What are the kind of standards that we have for vehicles? What are the crashes that are occurring? Are those standards matching that? And based on that, they can produce better vehicles and safer vehicles for India. Something like even speed management is not easy. It's not yet just that a traffic police officer has to do, but speed management itself is a separate expertise, where how do we manage speed? How do we ensure that the information is provided to the road user? How is enforcement carried out is all a science, and not just about a traffic police officer standing on the road with a stick or with a challan machine. So these are all sciences that we need to understand better, but these are the 12 global road safety performance targets provided by WHO, so that we can pick and choose which targets we want to focus on and how are we going to do it. Next slide, please. So once you have got your target or your purpose of data collection in place, the next most important thing we have to do is a literature review, or start studying basically. If you have decided that we are going to work on speed management in your location, you need to really understand what speed management is about. How do you collect speed data? What is its influence on crashes and injuries? What are the current laws, regulations, and standards? These things need to be studied by you before you even get into doing the data collection or doing some analysis. One of the things that we see is scientific knowledge and prior research work carried out should be known for the data collection people. And I would say, from my point of view, for doing crash investigations, crash investigators need to know about the Haddon matrix. The Haddon matrix, in my opinion, is something that everyone involved in road safety should know. If you don't know about it, please Google it. You will find good information about it. You should know about the physics of a crash. You should know about the biology of a crash, understand how the human body tolerates forces and impacts and how people get injured. You should know about road safety engineering. That is not just constructing roads, but constructing safer roads. And how can that be done in a cost-effective manner? You should know about vehicle safety. Why is ABS there? Why is ESP there? Why are airbags there? Why do we need helmets? Injury research. Ultimately, all this exercise that we are doing for road safety is to ensure that people don't get harmed. Accidents can happen, but how can we ensure that the accident does not result in a fatality or a serious injury? Human behavior and psychology. We always say that everybody is bad, people don't follow rules, but there is a psychology behind it. Why do people behave the way they are? There are reasons for that. And even educating, making awareness programs, and even enforcement are all sciences that need to be understood as to how to do it. You may have seen that some enforcement programs work excellently, while some enforcement programs are absolutely flop in the first day itself. Why is it? There are reasons for that. So that needs to be studied before we start the data collection activity. Next slide, please. Once you have done your knowledge building, your literature review, understood all the nuances, the next thing to do is start off with preparing the data collection methodology, which usually involves what are the variables that you need to collect from the field. So you have to create some user-friendly forms for your team to collect. And you have to also ensure that the data that is collected can be interpreted easily. For example, what is the difference between a rear end collision and a collision with a parked vehicle? Is there a difference between the two? If there is a truck which is parked on the road and a car hits it from the back, do I code it as a rear end collision or do I code it as a collision with a parked vehicle? These are all confusions that data collectors have, and that needs to be clearly informed to them. So that's why we have something called as a data dictionary, which defines what each value or each variable means clearly, so that the data collection team does not have a problem in understanding and interpreting it. And you also have to come up with a survey data collection process. And that basically is a project where you, just like any project, you would have three constraints. You have scope, cost, and time. And if you increase the scope, time, or cost, the quality may increase, but at the expense of the scope, time, and cost. But since we are in road safety data collection, one of the important things we also have to remember is the safety of the data collection team, because this data collection team is going to the same places where accidents and deaths happen. So they also need to be kept safe. Otherwise, data collection is going to become a problem. Next slide, please. Next, of course, is doing data collection, collecting all the data in the field and coming back and then reporting it. So one thing we have always seen is very helpful is to be able to have the results peer reviewed, which means you ask your fellow collaborator or you ask any person who's an expert in this area or has done similar work to check what you have done and tell whether it is the methodology is scientific, is it reliable, do you agree with the results? And when there is some corrections done, you will be able to publish and share your results. Otherwise, it's not good to just basically collect some data, quickly put up some analysis and put it out there without giving an understanding of what was the methodology, how was this collected, has it been checked by anybody, or is it just that you're trying to do it as a small experiment? So I'll give you an example now of what we do using these 4 steps. So we run a project called Road Accident Sampling System India, which is a on-site crash data collection project. So in 5 locations in India, we are conducting on-site crash investigations, scene and vehicle examination, crash reconstructions, injury analysis, and for each accident, we are collecting over 550 plus variables, including about the road, about the vehicles, about the drivers, the occupants, whether they're wearing seat belts or not, and also the injuries that they have sustained. The work that we do is similar to what a few of the other agencies across the world do in the US, in Germany, in Europe, in Australia, and in China. So you can see that we are among a few of the in-depth crash data collection initiatives in the world. So we have gone through the same process, and that's what I'm sharing with you. And after the process of data collection is over and we have analyzed, we publish these results. These results are published in conferences, national or international, which are peer reviewed, wherein we submit the paper or the results basically, and they analyze it and they decide whether it is good enough to be published as a paper. Next slide, please. So what you will see is ever since we started crash investigations way back in 2009, we have been publishing papers on how did we collect this data? What is the methodology that we have developed? How do we reconstruct accidents? How do we do the injury analysis? And then using the data, what is the kind of results that we get? We have been doing that ever since we started in 2009. And all this information that you see on your screen has been going on from 2009 all the way to today. Even now we are publishing some papers. And all this is available as publications on our website, which I'll share with you shortly. Next slide, please. So this is from 2009, where we are discussing most of how we developed RASI. This is the data which is being used, multiple papers from many of our sponsors and consortium members who are using the data. And all this data, all the way you can see till 2019, the papers are listed on the RASI publications in this website, rasi.org.in under publications. Just like the MORTH has publications, RASI has a publications page. So you can access these, and if you're ever interested to read any of these, please feel free to contact me. Next slide. So what is the power of this data? This data can help us be focused. So if we follow these 4 steps, starting off with a clear objective, then building our knowledge in that data collection area, the third point being that we have a good data collection process, and the fourth point is publishing the results in a clear and honest manner in conferences or peer-reviewed journals. If we do all this, then this can help us be focused towards achieving the target for 2030. It can help us even monitor the minimum 12 performance targets that have been specified, help us keep developing and improving good data collection methodologies, build the road safety knowledge, just not for the whole world, but for even your local environment, and publish results to share learnings. And one important thing that we have learned is that failure is also a learning. If you have done something for road safety and you realize that it did not work, it is good to even talk about it. There is no harm. I personally respect that, because then somebody else will not reinvent the wheel. So one of the things we see that is missing in India is a need for a neutral and professional scientific forum where this kind of information can be collated and disseminated for road safety information. And this is an area that needs to be filled. A lot of the other countries have already done it. When they started back in the 1960s, for example, we had the International Research Council on Biomechanics of Injuries. This was created between the government and the industry to understand why people are dying in automotive accidents. Back in the 1960s, I'm talking about. And data is being used so well that even today, after so many decades, these councils still exist and they still conduct these conferences where we are publishing our papers even now. So India needs to start something like that. Next slide, please. So one thing's for sure, just because you collect data does not mean that road safety is going to improve. That needs to be very, very clearly understood. Because you do data collection, you're only doing monitoring, you're doing tracking, you're understanding the status. And if you use the data to do action, that's when the change will come. So pretty much this is a kind of a stepwise thing that we follow for data-driven action, wherein on the leftmost at the bottom, you can see baseline data collection. That's the first time we collect the data, understand the situation. Second point, we analyze the data and identify what are the road safety priorities and the low-hanging fruits, wherein for a small amount of money, you can get a big amount of change in road safety. Then we sit with the stakeholders and we plan the interventions. How do we go about improving? What can we do? What can the road engineer do? What can the vehicle engineer do? What can the traffic department do? What can the police do? And then based on whatever all is agreed based on what all is agreed for the activities which are done for the identified priorities, we monitor the targets and these activities to see how they are proceeding. And finally, whatever happens, whether the result is good or bad, we publish it as a learning. so that we understand that, well, these activities worked very well. They helped reduce the fatalities by about 10%, whereas these activities did not show any response. We either need to improve it, or maybe that's not a good place to invest money. So this is a good step-by-step method for using data for data-driven action planning, which has worked for us. In many locations where we are conducting RASI crash investigations, we have worked with the government authorities and NGOs to be able to bring about change. Unfortunately, it is not being applied at a national level, and hopefully this addresses it. Next slide, please. So yesterday, while discussing with Swati, she explained that IRSC is involved in getting some interns to do some data collection. They would like to understand, where do we start? What do we do for this data collection? So here is my suggestion on that. As soon as Swati changes the slide, and there it is. So the simplest way to get started, and this is what we did back in 2009 before starting RASI, is first visit your nearest police station. Go ahead and meet them, talk to them, get permission to access the FIRs for the road accidents that have occurred in that area. Focus on all the fatal and serious road accidents and create a simple Excel sheet which tells for each accident what is the date and time, what is the location, and what is the type of road user who has got involved in these accidents. Is it a pedestrian, a motorcyclist, a car driver, a truck driver? Who was the person who was fatal or seriously injured? And what is the type of the impacting vehicle? What happened? Who hit him? And where do these accidents take place? If you do this simple exercise, then this simple exercise is going to result in giving you an idea of what's going on in your area. So let's say you do it for the whole of 2019, that if you're able to get the FIRs from one police station, in that police station's jurisdiction, which is hopefully is in your area, you would have a pretty good understanding of the current status of road safety. You are doing something like what TRW is doing for the whole country. And this knowledge that you will acquire will be very, very useful for you to plan what you should do next. What's the next road safety activity that needs to be pursued? So this is one suggestion from my side to how to get started. And I think this is the simplest way. Next slide, please. Now you might think that what's going to happen, this is just one police station I'm going to, we have like 20,000 police stations and so on. But our experience has been that if you take small data steps, they lead to big achievements. In 2009, when we started crash investigations, none of me or my team members ever thought that it is going to grow to an extent the way it is growing now. So when we started, we were just a handful of like 3 or 4 people doing crash investigations on one highway. And today we are able to basically collect information from various cities, highways, rural areas, and we're trying to project it to the whole nation to have a scientific database. So one very important thing that comes to my mind, which was said by Bill Gates, a quotation that was said by Bill Gates: most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. So we basically want to get a lot of things done in the beginning itself. Suggestion is take small steps, and as these small steps grow, you would have underestimated what you can achieve in 10 years. Which means if we start properly now in slow steps, by 2030, probably we would have reduced fatalities to even much less than 75,000 than what the target we have kept. So keep that in mind, and that is very, very helpful. Next slide, please. So with that, I summarize the 5 powers of data that we have. The first one, data is important, and without data, we are just giving opinions. And there is no point in having opinions right now in road safety, as we have seen that nothing is really improving for the past 10 years. Data provides knowledge, and hence data collection has to be strengthened. The national statistics, TRW, whatever they are doing has to be improved, all the way down to what the police stations are doing to collect the road accident data. And with this data, you can also be an expert. So you can be a person who can understand what the data is, what is the data saying, and take data-driven action based on that, so that you can keep a focus and ensure that you're getting results. And finally, of course, small data steps can lead to big achievements. If we go take this direction, it will really help us a lot. Next slide. So we have our curve going upwards in year 2020 also. I don't know, the data is not out yet, but I don't see much of a change. So hopefully we are able to reduce, that's good. But after 2020, we can bring down this curve if we strengthen road accident data reporting, improve our knowledge and expertise, initiate data-driven actions, publish results and learning, create a scientific forum, and remain focused. If you do all these steps, that I'm sure that just like all other countries have done, including Sweden, Austria, Australia, USA, Germany, all the successful countries, whatever they have done, if we continue to do the same in principle, we should be able to reduce fatalities. And in 2030, when you have to go to UN or any of us have to be in that first situation that I told you, we would be in a better position to represent India and say that we have achieved something. So with that thought, I would like to say thank you for giving me the opportunity, and like to remind you all that with this UN target of reducing fatalities to less than 75,000 by 2030, our time starts now. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ravi Shankar, for your very interesting presentation about the data collection and also importance of data, and also saying that data collection is only a starting point and actual action is what gives us the results, and based on the data available to make a correct decision is also very, very important. It should lead to the results expected. And your conclusion that the small data steps will lead us to big achievements is very interesting. And we are all hopeful that all actions by all stakeholders should at least make us achieve the so-called targets of, I mean, less than 75,000 fatalities by 2030. I have actually some questions for you before we open up it to the questions from the participants.
Sure.
I just wanted to understand what all locations you are covering the accident analysis right now, and what are your constraints in spreading it to Pan India?
So if you're talking about RASI, the purpose of RASI is basically it's a sampling study. And what we're trying to do is that every crash in India cannot be investigated in detail. It's going to take a lot of effort and a lot of time and a lot of money. As I said, you have the project constraints, scope, time, and cost. So what we do is we sample accidents from specific locations with specific characteristics. And what we are basically doing right now is doing in 3 cities. That is Ahmedabad, Jaipur, and Kolkata. And in addition to that, in 2 rural areas, in Coimbatore and in Maharashtra. So with these 5 locations, we are able to represent a good number of accidents that occur in India and able to understand what are the problems in rural areas and what are the problems in urban areas.
These locations cover both highways and state highways?
That is correct, yes. So we also try to map it with the Transport Research Wing data to see whether our data is representative or not.
So basically, I mean, if I can conclude these 5 places, what you are targeting, where you are working for accident analysis, is representative of what would be happening in India.
That is correct. When you say more, representative is a statistical word, and it cannot be 100%. But
I know.
Keeping in mind that we are close to that.
I see. Okay. I recollect when we used to interact with NATRIP. NATRIP also was planning to initiate a road accident analysis wing of theirs located in Lucknow. At that time, Dr. Praveen Agrawal was the director. He had he was trying to discuss with the manufacturers that time to form a group to get into this analysis. Unfortunately, he left NATRIP and that particular project has been withdrawn by the government.
Okay.
The,
Hopefully it will happen. Hopefully the government will be able to find a good agency which is going to start doing crash investigations. But interestingly, since you said about NATRIP, in many of the countries that we have crash investigation agencies, the government is always a part of it. It's only in India that we have started off as a private consortium, although, but right now the state governments are part of it. So the state governments give us permission to do it. Hopefully, very soon the union government also takes part in it.
No, that time when we were discussing with the NATRIP, Mr. Praveen Agarwal, the idea was to not to create a totally independent entity, but also join with what JP was doing to enlarge the total scope and cover more locations. That type of thing, actually.
Yeah, and that's what I also meant. When the government joins in and other agencies come in, we work together and collaborate.
Yeah, that's right. I have one more question. I mean, coming from auto industry, your whatever experience you have in accident analysis, what is your view about the safety standards what have been already implemented in our vehicles based on what Europe is following? Actually, more or less, most of the standards are based on standards in Europe. Let it be crash or most of the standards with some minor changes. So, do you feel that approach has worked for India, or you feel we are overkilling or underkilling? I mean, what is your view on this?
Well, I don't want to give views, but it's good to look at the data. So if you look at the data, we still have, I think, about 17% of the fatalities from car occupants, cars, LMVs, vans, or maybe even more. So something is not right. Now, when we are taking the standards that have been developed in European countries and applying them to India, keep in mind that these standards were developed by those countries using the crash data that they have. And one of the things I see is are crashes in Europe and India the same? For example, Europe has probably 80% of the vehicles are cars or light trucks, whereas in India, 80% of the vehicles are motorcycles.
Correct.
So in Europe, where a crash test is done to represent a car-to-car crash test, in India, what would a car usually hit? If 80% of the vehicles are motorcycles, probably they're hitting motorcycles, or maybe something else, or maybe car to car. We need to get this data to be able to clearly say what is required. But one thing that has come out very well is that our engineers, if they are given the right data and if they are given the right motivation, they can come up with safety solutions. There is no doubt about that. So the recent global NCAP experience is a clear thing that while the global NCAP said we're going to do the testing now for Indian cars, immediately you can see most of the vehicle engineers have redesigned the vehicles, and now we have a 5-star safety car also.
Oh, you have touched the very sensitive subject actually. GNCAP, they do the testing of crash, etc. at very high speeds. Do you think that is relevant considering the Indian traffic situation?
That is something I can't answer without data. But what I was trying to allude to is that our engineers, if they are given the right data, can really design and develop safer vehicles and safer roads. The question is, we need to get the data out, analyze it properly, and then come out with that. There might be a separate session for a particular topic of, okay, if we want to do passenger car safety, what exactly is the data we need to look at? And that itself is a long session. So I cannot answer that question in about a minute.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, of course, when somebody is designing a vehicle, he will try to meet what are the
current safety
standards which are to be complied. So if somebody is targeting to get a 5-star in GNCAP, obviously the designer will configure the systems accordingly.
Yes, GNCAP also says that you can change the standards to meet your local requirements. So we can change the definition of a 5-star for Indian
exactly.
Standard.
That's
what the data can help. So I'm sure we will get there next decade for sure.
If you are aware, our Ministry of Surface Transport was working on a Bharat vehicle star rating, and somehow it didn't see the light of the day. But there was a proposal to have our own star rating. So that time there was a lot of debate about, the actual accident data of Indian roads and how they are similar or different from what's happening in Europe. Actually, all these were discussed that time also. I have one more question before I pass it on to Swati for the questions from participants.
Yeah.
Based on your accident analysis, were there any specific recommendations for road redesign or identification of red spots and modifications on the roads?
Yes, quite a lot, in fact. So
Yes,
just like vehicle safety has a lot of areas to improve, we also have road engineering, which needs a lot of improvement.
correct.
And since the road engineering comes clearly under the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways and the local
Yeah,
PWDs,
that's
we
right.
provide them a lot of information of what are the problems we are seeing. And in fact, many of the problems are not even very expensive that you have to redesign or rebuild a flyover or rebuild a bridge. But many
Yeah.
of them are quite simple, simple or change of geometries, road markings and signage and so on. Recently, we gave a report based on the 9 years of data that we have to Mr. Nitin Gadkari, the Minister of Road Transport and Highways. And in that, we have indicated that the top two problems for road safety from the road engineering side are intersections, poor intersection designs, and lack of road signage and markings. These are two important things that are coming up in the data. Of course, there are a lot of other reasons, but these two factors which are coming on the top are reasonably easily achievable solutions that we are already available that we can implement and improve road safety. So answer is yes, there is a lot of things on road engineering that needs to be done.
Somebody is asking, how do we collaborate, develop central government, state government, road safety expert, manufacturers, and academia, plus traffic governing agency and local public. My God, he has included everybody if possible.
Well, I would say let's not worry about the nation and the world. First, let's worry about ourselves. Sometimes we have to be selfish. So the first thing we should do is develop ourselves as road safety experts. And the best way right now is, as we see that road safety expertise is limited, we can start getting into data collection. And that is where I suggest that those who want to get into road safety expertise should start with data. And that's why I give the activity. Just go to your nearest police station, start from there. If anybody is able to take that first step, then they are on the right path to road safety expertise.
There's another question. Is there any effort to integrate available source of traffic accident data? For example, police, hospitals, insurance, social media, etc.
Could you repeat the question?
This question is from Thomas Rajesh. Is there any effort to integrate available source of traffic accident data? For example, police, hospitals, insurance, social media, etc.
I can't answer that question because I'm not from the government. Sorry for that. I have no idea, to be honest.
See, with with the request coming in for more importance being given to data day to day, is there also an importance being given to standardization on how this collection procedures need to be done? Is there any standards being provided on, like, this is how we are going to collect and maintain and review the data? So is there these kind of standards that people who are interested now in collection of data, they can follow, they can review, and they can say, okay, this is what we are this is the standard and quality we are not supposed to maintain?
Yes, that's a good question. We do have something called as good practice manuals. These are published by WHO. So based on what data you want to collect, whether it's on speed management, on helmets, on seat belts, or crash data, there is some information about it. But one needs to understand these are guidelines, and it changes the procedure or the process or the data collection methodology changes from location to location. You have to adjust that. So there are best practices. There's no doubt about it. And in addition to that, I think there is quite a lot of literature available on what is the kind of data that can be extracted for meaningful analysis. And these are very well available through publications, even available online, and even we are happy to provide them if you need.
Okay, so we did have one more question. I'm not again sure whether you will be the right person, but I'll ask this question to you. Are there some funding agencies that or companies that are right now focusing on supporting all these kind of research?
Yes.
Yes. So interestingly, Dr. Ivira is from Maruti Suzuki, and Maruti Suzuki is also one of the members of the RASI consortium. They are also using the data to check how their vehicles are performing and what they can do to build safer vehicles. So there are private companies. If you go to the RASI website, you will see who are the companies who are part of this RASI consortium. I believe one of your advisory committee members, Giri Kumar Kumaresh from
Yes.
Bosch, is also Bosch is also a member of RASI.
Okay, so I think I just want to ask one last question, sir, which is something that we discussed yesterday also. How people have been asking about, it's not easy to just walk into a police station and ask for data and them providing you the data immediately. So how do we remain positive and actually keep continuing taking those efforts and trying to collect that data that is required to us without getting disheartened by all these efforts or by not receiving responses?
That that's something. It's you have to take it very positively. You have to have a lot of perseverance and confidence to keep doing what you're doing if you believe that what you're doing is right. In my opinion, if you walk in a police station and the person, nobody can say no. They cannot say no, we will not give. At the most they can say is, please can you get the approval from my higher authority? And you just walk up the ladder to find out who that higher authority is and get their permission. Pretty much if you're a student, if you're going to them and saying that I'm going to use this data to help you out, I'm sure most likely they will say, yes, please look at it and tell us what you have found. You will be helping them. Keep in mind, police has got a lot of things to do. Traffic is just one of them. So they would like to have all the help that they can. And if you are able to help them out, they will be surely respectful of that and they will appreciate that and help you out too. So be positive about it. I don't think there's a problem. We've been working with the police since 2009. And I have seen fantastic IPS police officers. And most of the work that we do is thanks to them. If they were not there or they were not cooperating with us, we would never be able to do the crash investigations that we do now.
There is one question from a participant. He is asking what are the organizations with whom we can collaborate for data?
Could you repeat the question, please?
What are the organizations with whom we can collaborate for data?
You want to do, is it for data collection or is it for data analysis?
He is Prashant Kushwaha. He is from Port Hole Raja. I don't know. I am not able to make out from which organization.
Yeah, I think
they are also working on road safety. That's what he says.
Okay. I think the first thing is talk to TRW, Transport Research Wing. If you're a corporate company trying to figure out how we can improve data collection, as I said, we need to strengthen national statistics. So they are a good place to start. I think Prashant Kushwaha just answered data analysis. So Transport Research Wing, Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, they have the data. Start there.
I have one question regarding the police FIRs what are being filed after accident. What is the level of information you get from that? I mean,
good question. So
are they, I mean, I vaguely remember some time back discussion that it's only very, very sketchy and it's only to identify who is the culprit in the accident and not really to analyze the accident. So is there any improvement on that? Or is it possible for you, agency like you to make them collect the data which is relevant and helpful for analysis?
Yes. So the FIR is considered as a document. It's a big text box which basically tells the whole narration of the accident, including the date and time of accident, the location, the vehicles involved, who's affected, all those information are given. It's not given in a tabulated form that you can quickly just take, but you will have to
read
and extract that information.
Yes.
So over the past 10 years, I think we have gone through maybe 5,000 FIRs, and we are able to extract information from it, especially in the locations where we already work. And it's not difficult. Now, keep in mind, the purpose of the police to have an FIR is purely, it's not for scientific research. It is to identify who's at fault.
Correct.
So he has to find out which road user is at fault. And he or she, whoever the police officer is, has to take the steps to identify who should I challan or who should I take to court. That is the intention. And that's why the FIR is the way it is. Right? So we cannot change that overnight. It will take some time, but the data is available to be extracted. And in terms of scientific research, we are not interested in who is responsible, because we understand that road accidents are not intentional. If they were intentional, they would be crimes, they would be murders. So it's just happened. So what went wrong? Who did the wrong maneuver, or what was the person doing, or was he not wearing a helmet? Why did he get injuries? Those are the kind of things we try to understand and figure out how could this accident or the injuries, the resulting injuries, be avoided. That's what we try to analyze for each accident.
Somebody has asked a question, why we are not looking for digitalization of FIR system?
Would you repeat the question, sir?
Why we are not looking at digitization of FIR system, accident FIRs?
Yes. So that's why I said that's slowly happening. It won't change overnight. So now some of the police stations, especially in the cities, they have FIRs that are being scanned and uploaded into a common database. So every time now you go to the police, even if you register an FIR, you'll be given a number and you can check your FIR directly online. It's possible now. So things are changing. It will not be immediate. It will take some time, but we are moving in that direction, fortunately.
There's one more question. Will you explain integrated road accident database, IRAD?
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm not aware of it, but
Integrated road accident database.
IRAD, IRAD. Okay.
IRAD.
I've heard of a project that has been initiated by the government with the help of, I think, IIT Madras, where they are trying to do the exact point that the person was saying, that we have the FIR, how can we make it more digitized? So that's the purpose of, I think, IRAD. So we are moving in that direction, and hopefully that happens. So IRAD is like a kind of a EFIR, as you may call it, a police report that is made on a software device where everything is directly captured online, rather than have the paper format. That's my understanding of IRAD, but I'm not the best source for it.
So, any more questions?
Yeah, I'm just going to ask one question that just came to my mind. I know that right now we are conducting, based on the presentation that I saw, we want to conduct surveys and there's a lot of field work that you are suggesting. But do you see somewhere in the future using the already big data and all the data available on the internet, etc., the big RAD that is going on right now with respect to technology?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see that coming to help our road safety, the efforts that we are taking?
Yes, it will happen. It will eventually happen. Sooner or later, it's going to happen that cars will have digital, vehicles will have digital monitors. They'll have some sort of a black box. So we'll be able to extract information from them. We may have ICT on roads, which are communicating with the vehicles and providing information. There will be a lot of data generated, but as of today, that data is not available. So a lot of people want to use machine learning and AI and Python and whatnot, but the initial data that is available is not there for doing meaningful analysis. And that's why I'm emphasizing that you need to collect good data. Otherwise, you must have heard of this popular phrase or popular acronym called GIGO, G-I-G-O, garbage in, garbage out. If your data is bad, your analysis is going to be equally bad. Mm-hmm. So that's why, since there is a dearth of data in road safety, we need to add, or we need to fill that gap properly by collecting good quality data.
True.
There's one more question from a participant. What is the difference between accident and crash? which is the correct word to use?
Okay, so it's good to know. So we use accidents quite normally, but in USA they don't use the word accident at all. It's always a crash. If you go to any USA website, you will never see the word accident. It is always going to be crash, because it's mandated by law that an accident is something which is unpredictable and so on, but that's not the case. All road accidents are now known to be predictable. We know what is the consequence of them, and hence they have decided that they're going to call it a crash. So if that, I mean, that's a first step also to understand why is it a crash and why is it not an accident. So those are things also we will build up as we gain more knowledge. I would even question, do you know what is the definition of a fatal road accident in India? How do we know what is a fatal road accident? So WHO has a definition that any person who dies within 30 days of the accident as a result of injuries sustained in the accident, it's a fatal road accident. But where in Indian law is it written? Where in Indian law is it written? So we still follow the Indian Penal Code, which says under IPC section 304A that there must be an accused and there must be a victim, and one person has caused harm to the other, and then it becomes a fatal road accident. So those things are still gray areas that we need to work on. And that's where I said we need to define the data variables properly. We need to have a data dictionary. So the ministry also has to clearly say, as per Indian government or as per law, what is the meaning of a road accident? What is the meaning of a fatal accident? Those are still areas that need to be defined. But that's a good question.
One query, does transport research being give information to individuals who wish to analyze data for road safety?
Why not? I mean, it's a government department. They should. So you're getting the reports. If you want any great details, you should be able to contact them and get it.
So I think we will close the session over here. People who have any more questions and questions, you can submit it through our form, which we will be circulating. We will, forward them to Ravi Shankar sir, and he can respond to us via email as well. First of all, I'd like to thank you, sir, for joining us on a Sunday, and you've given us a wonderful presentation. We've been getting a lot of good feedback about how much information they have gained by looking at this presentation that you have given. And V. Rao sir, if you have any final thoughts or comments to make, and I'd say even Ravi Shankar sir, any final thoughts or comments, we will close the session after that.
Yeah, Ravi Shankar, you can go ahead.
Okay, so my final thoughts mainly, we have gone through the decade of action, 2011 to 2020, and we have seen that we have not made any major effect to be proud of. So let's really start working on data. Please ensure that data is presented in all your road safety meetings, wherever you attend them. And keep in mind that without data, we only have opinions, and that's opinions are not going to help us fix problems. We need data. So let's start with that. And let's keep this target of UN clear that in 2030, we should be able to reduce fatalities to less than 75,000. If we all individually try our best to help this target, it would be very helpful. And this individual help need not be you get into data collection, but even simple things like no need to speed, wear a helmet, wear a seat belt, even if you're in the rear seat. These simple instructions from the government, if you follow them, will help us a lot. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. I.V. Rao, sir.
Speaking from what Mr. Ravi Shankar has said, I think having correct data is very, very important. And as part of the group which was discussing with the government for formulation of various regulations, we always used to mention it to the government that we should analyze whether it is right to adopt a regulation which is there in Europe as it is in India. We need to actually refine it to suit our requirements, our conditions, because we have very bad mixed traffic on the roads, unlike other countries, and we also have very huge population of two-wheelers against mostly four-wheeler traffic in Europe. and also the crash speeds, etc. There was a lot of debate, and I think the accident data will give a lot of inputs for realigning ourselves to what is best for India. And also, as you mentioned, I think it's the duty of all of us to adhere to what is the rules and the traffic rules, etc. And also practice correct habits of driving and using the road. Not only driving, but also when you are using the road, so that we all will work towards building a safe road. Thank you, Ravi Shankar, for your excellent presentation and very detailed explanation of data, its importance, and how small steps about data will lead us to a big achievement. Thank you. Thank you very much. I would like to
Thank you once
thank all
again,
the
Dr. Rajarao
participants
sir,
for
and thank you
their
once
patience.
again to Swati and the IRSC group for having me make a presentation at your webinar.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Please join us back again next
Thank you
Sunday
very much.
for a similar kind of session. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Swati.
Have a nice day.